Right. Now, one of the things we've seen in this election, not a lot of Senate races this year in states that have a big Latino population, but still the Republicans are working on upping their game to win over Hispanic voters. Jennifer Sevilla Korn is the RNC Deputy Political Director. She's also in charge of Hispanic outreach there. This has been her ground zero. Jennifer, thanks very much for being here.
Thank you. Good evening. It's a really great night for us so far.
Now, I talked to you last in Colorado. We were talking about your ground game out there. It looks like you guys were able to pull it out. Cory Gardner wins there. What does that tell you about winning over Latino voters? Was that any part of this?
Absolutely. I mean, it tells me that the work that we do, we go in early, we show up, we start building relationships with the Latino community. We communicate what our message is. We introduce who the candidates are and really define for ourselves what a Republican is and who our candidates are rather than just let the Democrats define us. It absolutely works. And we were able to see that on the ground. I went door to door, phoning with my staff and, working with the candidates right there. And I can tell you that the Latino vote absolutely did help us in Colorado.
Jennifer, what about Latino turnout overall? What have you seen? I mean, the classic definition of turnout problems in midterm elections is that minority voters don't turn out as much, young voters don't turn out as much. Is that holding true tonight or not?
Well, I would say so. I mean, in the midterms, we always see a drop-off than a presidential, but where we have worked really hard, we have seen Hispanics turn out in Colorado. If you followed in Florida, Carlos Curbelo won for Congress down in the Miami area, Rick Scott winning. We won two House races, two Republicans won in Central Florida, knocked off two incumbent state House seats. And then so you see that across the country where you see Hispanics are turning out. Again, along the lines for midterms, we see a drop-off in voters who come out. But we really worked hard in making sure that the Hispanic voters knew who we were and that they came out to vote for us.
Jennifer, one of the things we were talking about earlier is President Obama does have more executive actions in mind when it comes to immigration. Is that going to put Republicans at a deficit going into 2016 to have the Republicans potentially rally the Hispanic community?
I don't think so. One of the reasons why the Hispanic community decided to give Republicans a chance was because they were really disappointed with President Obama and the Democrats. But you saw what he's done. He's broken his promise a couple times when it comes to immigration reform. He promised it in the first 100 days of his presidency, didn't do it then, didn't do it in the first 2 years when he had Democrats majority in the Senate and the House. And then in June earlier of this year, he promised the executive order and decided because of political reasons to push it after November. So Hispanics really pay attention to that. This gives an opportunity to Republicans to talk to the Latino community about what their solutions are. And I think there's an absolute opportunity there because there is disillusionment with what the president says and what he does.
But even when we talk about this dissatisfaction with the president, in our WSJ poll, we looked at likely Latino voters. 31% preferred a Republican-controlled Congress. 51% preferred a Democratic-controlled Congress. So it still seems like the GOP has some work to do with these voters. What are your action items going to be tomorrow morning, 1 and 2, to start shoring up this constituency going into 2016?
Well, one of the great things about what the RNC is doing is different than in previous elections where, you'd come in 5 months before an election and then leave after Election Day. Starting tomorrow, we keep our staff and we continue to do those, the plan that we put into place, and we're going to start expanding that plan into other states and to grow in each of the states we're already in. And so we're only going to continue that effort and to make it even larger than what you've seen on the ground so far in this last year.
Now, you were ahead of Viva Bush. That was the last time we saw a Republican really win a large share of Hispanic voters. And I know you had a little trepidation going into this cycle. You weren't really sure that Republicans meant it when they said they wanted to win over Latino voters. What do you think they did differently? What do you think worked if we do end up seeing Republicans kind of one share of these Latino voters, particularly in a place like Colorado?
Right. You are very correct on that. I have to say that after being here for a little over a year, Chairman Reince Priebus and those who support him have kept true to their promise. We've had the resources that we've needed to do the effort that I've put into place. And what we've seen a little differently is that we've got congressional candidates, the U.S. Senate candidates like Cory Gardner and Mike Coffin, for instance, in Colorado, work hand in hand with us. And so there's a true commitment to wanting to be partners partners with us and to truly engage the Hispanic community. Again, not just sort of in a surface way, but to truly get to know the Hispanic community and who their constituents are going to be. And so what I've seen differently is the candidates want to make that effort and to join forces with us to do that.
You know, Jennifer, one of the real interesting questions here is what represents good turnout, good performance for Republicans among Latino voters? Because the exit poll suggests you'll probably be in the 34% range this time. That still means Democrats are getting 2 out of 3 Latino votes. What would you like that number to be?
Yes, that's correct. I mean, when in 2004 we were able to get 44% of the vote, McCain got 31% in 2008, and then Romney got 27% in 2012, which to me is just unacceptable. We have a base, even if you don't even campaign, of at least 30% of Hispanics who are Republicans or lean Republican. And so making those gains above 27%, like you said, get into the mid-30s is very good gains for us, but we're not going to be satisfied with that. We want to continue to see that grow and make it back up to where we had it in the past.
Jennifer, you've told us a lot about things that did work for you guys this year. What did you try that just didn't work?
Well, I would say that everything that we did, because we were sort of starting from scratch after 2012, it being a wake-up call for Republicans to go, oh yeah, we really do need to reach out to the Hispanic community. The things we were doing, one, showing up, two, making sure that we were talking about our message, three, really listening to the Hispanic community, and then doing persuasion, where we went to door-to-door and phone banking. All of that really worked for us. And so right now, I'm not seeing a lot of the things that didn't work because, again, we're starting from the beginning, and all of those things are the things that you have to do in order to build an infrastructure. If I were to say that we do anything differently, is that we need to start to develop more, expand our staff, and to start putting more resources into areas now that we've seen success in certain states.
Jennifer, appreciate the insight. Appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening. It'll be a late one.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's true.